Today's adventure begins in my garage. As the recording of this, it is the last day of March 2025. Monday, March 31st. Tomorrow is April 1st, April Fools, some call it. And tomorrow, I'm not going to do it tonight, but tomorrow, I'm going to get back into the gym, my little home gym that I built here in the garage. I'm only going to be able to use it for about 5 days, but I'm going to go pretty hard for those 5 days. Because after that, I'm going to be leaving. It's 5 or 6 days, give or take a day. And then I'm going to be boarding a plane, going to California for 1 day. Just a 1 day layover, and then getting on a plane to go somewhere very far away. And I'm not sure in my international travels if I'll be hitting the gym at the hotels, but I'm going to try to keep it up. I've said this a million times before. If there's one thing in life I really fail at, it is sticking to my promises to myself when it comes to getting on the treadmill and hitting the weights and doing the gym and eating better and all that. But going to give it another whirl. And I think in addition, or not in addition, but to help motivate me, I've added a TV out here in the garage. I have been on my phone. You know, I watch movies and things like that on my phone. I have a little clip here that I did have on a cabinet that I removed. This right here holds my cell phone. And I removed the cabinet, and my friend Dune Buggy Jim, you've seen a few of the videos, he helped me mount this TV up here, 40-inch TV. And I have the streaming services and all that. So I'm going to get back on my idea of watching all the Disney theater version animated classics that were released in theaters in a row. I think I've gotten through 13. Tomorrow I'm going to start on number 14. I think there's 63 out right now, so I got a long way to go. But my thought process now, and this is kind of a long-winded intro, but my thought process now is, so before I would do an hour and a half. I'd do an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half on the treadmill, watching each of those Disney films. And I could do it, but after that was over, after that 90 minutes or 85 minutes on the treadmill, I would be so tired and worn out and sweaty and nasty that I had no motivation, to do this, do the leg crunches and use this machine or go over here and use the weight bench. So I was really kind of just a little too winded not using it. So now my goal is to maybe do like a half hour, 45 minutes on the treadmill. And then the other 45 minutes, while the TV is playing the rest of the movie and I can see it, utilize these. Again, if I'm going to be motivated, I can't be saying that that's the only reason I'd be motivated, but I think it would be very helpful to myself to have the TV on up there. And, once I finish over time going through all those movies, I could start on the Pixar movies, and then I could just pick different series of films to get through. But I always wanted to get through all those Disney movies. So I'm going to get back on track with that when I'm home. A lot of international travel coming up, so might have to pull the old phone out and do them in the hotels. But I'm going to try, and I have an end goal in mind. 2 years ago, I had Thin by Dragon Con. I got pretty skinny by Dragon Con 2 years ago. And then last year I had Fit by 50 before August 10th. And I got pretty thin. I probably should have kept it going, but I went off the rails for Halloween season into Christmas season and all that. So this one is going to be dedicated around the anniversary of Disneyland for their 70th anniversary on July 17th. I'm going to go get some coffee. Welcome, everyone. Adam the Woo here. I'm inviting you, yes, you, to join me as I go get coffee, probably go to Publix, talk about some things, do some stuff. I'm inviting you to join me. Shall you? It's already a little after 6 p.m. Was busy most of the day doing stuff around the house, planning out future trips, booking a couple more flights for the next few months. Got a lot coming up, a lot going on from here on out the rest of the year. I think probably the first couple months of the year were the mellow months. It's about to get wacky. I mean, I did a lot the first few months, but the April and on is going to be very, very hectic. Procured a parking spot. Definitely not as many people down here as there was over the weekend for the car show. And I get some Starbucks. Mobile ordered it. I like that they wrote the word yum with 3 M's. This cup made a yummy sound. Made a yummy sound. See my shadow there? I can see if the scale that I have, which I did not use at all last year, I had it back when I had my apartment, over a year and a half ago. Weigh myself every once in a while when I get on these like kind of weight loss extreme, trying to drop some weight challenges. And last year, I decided I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to base it on how I felt and how I looked in the mirror. But I think that might have been part of the downfall. I think the fact that I wasn't, I think to help me get motivated, obviously I told you about the TV thing, and that's just kind of an added thing for less excuses to get out of the garage, but then also seeing myself and weighing myself on a semi-regular basis, I think could probably be good. And this will probably be my last latte for a while. Get back to the regular coffee, just because lattes have a lot of stuff in it, doesn't probably need to be consumed. Get back on the no lattes, no desserts, and no fried foods. It worked well for me last year. Worked really well. And then I went off the rails. But that was like my prerogative. And it always seems to work. Tonight, who knows what I'm gonna get tonight? Who knows? I'll probably go to Publix, get my usual from Publix, which is usually salad, chickpeas, cottage cheese. Which I guess doesn't fall underneath the fried or dessert category. There's a Cybertruck over there and the 10-minute limit parking. I've also heard, I am, again, just looking at me, I'm not the picture of health or an expert when it comes to fitness in any way, shape, or form. But I've heard that cardio is great if you don't do cardio. But I think I already do a lot of cardio. I do cardio all the time, walking around. I walk a lot of steps every day. So I feel like just breaking that sweat on the treadmill and doing, 20, 30 minutes of cardio, or maybe even less than that if it was like a really elevated or inclined. Then hit the weights. Because they say, I don't know who they is, but I've heard, they have said, those who know more than I do about fitness, that you're going to burn more calories by lifting weights throughout the whole day. For cardio, you only burn it when you are doing said cardio. So we'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes over the months. We'll see what happens. And basically, what my thought is, I'm not going to be filming a video tomorrow of what I'm doing in the gym. However, I will be putting stories up on Instagram. So if you would like to follow along with my Instagram stories, my Instagram handle is AdamTheWoo ATW, AdamTheWoo ATW, and I'll also put the review of the Disney movies. I'm doing number 14 tomorrow, which I believe it might be Peter Pan. I got to look at my list. I think Peter Pan might be tomorrow. So I'll do half hour on the treadmill, 45 minutes on the treadmill, and then a solid 30 minutes of doing some weight reps, and doing the leg crunches, doing some stretches, which I feel like a pretzel all the time. So being in there, I could glance up at the TV, hear the TV. Like I said, when I had the phone, it was just so small. When I got off the treadmill, I couldn't see what was going on, so I kind of lost the excitement of trying to watch that. So I would just stay on the treadmill the whole time it was over, and then pretty much about to pass out after that. So I kind of want to change it up a bit. Let's see what happens. July 17th, 2025 will be the 70th. Yes, that's right, the 70th anniversary of Walt's original Magic Kingdom in Anaheim, California, Disneyland. I've stated this before and I will state it again. 2015 was the greatest Disney year of my entire life. I moved to California in February of 2015. Lived at the Orange Circle, well, a few blocks away from the Orange Circle. And it was just such a great year. Around the same time the 70th is starting, around May-ish. So the 70th anniversary starts in May. May 16th is the kickoff. And I am planning on going to the Disneyland Resort for the kickoff of the 70th. I'm going to be there for a couple days. I'm going to fly in, they're going to fly out. This challenge I'm doing is for the official day, which is July 17th, 2025, which is the exact 70th anniversary of Disneyland. So there's the kickoff of the 70th celebrations, but then the official day is July 17th. That is when the Walt animatronic appears and rears his head for the first time. First ever Walt animatronic in the history of Walt Disney. And that is going to be happening over in the great moments of Mr. Lincoln Theater. So I would like to be thinner than I am now. I'd like to weigh less, feel better. I have not been feeling great the last couple of months. Whenever I pack pounds on, I start not feeling good. And it just, my body always just tells me, what the heck are you doing, man? So, again, for the 9,000th time, I know. I get it. I know how I am, but gonna do it again, 2025. From working retail over the years, stocking shelves, getting up and down off my knees, doing things like that, throwing feed, big bags of feed, 50-pound, 100-pound bags of feed when I worked at the feed store, groceries, unloading trucks, things like that. I have a bad back. My knees are not so great. I got a little bike wreck where the knee still hurts from back then when I got in that bike wreck. So when I start putting on pounds, I start to feel it a little bit. Notice those ailments as much when I'm, 30 pounds or more lighter than I am right now. So that was kind of what got me thinking. And then I'm like, it's always springtime. I'm always at my heaviest. And then I get excited and I start making changes. And then, usually by my birthday or, end of September, into haunt season, the start of haunt season, I'm usually doing pretty good. And again, par for the course. You can set your watch by my habits and my decisions and my positive aspects and my negative aspects. You could set a watch by my promises and failed promises. I don't even really have a clever saying for this, but I don't know if I'm going to be, well, I guess, technically, if I do drop all the weight before August 10th, which is my 51st birthday, I guess the Fit by 50 still kind of will be, because will be fit in my 50. I don't know, that's a stretch. My game plan tonight is just to go to Publix, get some food. I'm going to go over to the 192 Publix, get some food, take it home. I'm going to watch the Rays game. I think tonight they're playing the Pirates. The Rays have won 2 out of 3 games as I'm filming this. Obviously, when this video is up in the morning, I'll know the outcome of the Pirates game because I'm going to watch the whole game at my house. I've had to sign up for FanDuel Sports Network, even though I do subscribe and pay for the MLB app, and I also subscribe to the FUBO, F-U-B-O app. I pay for that. I pay for MLB app just so I can watch Rays games. But now they have switched from Bally Sports to this new app, or new whatever it is, the Sports Network. I had to sign up for that. So I'm paying a monthly fee on that now, because even on FUBO and MLB, they wouldn't let me watch it. There were blackouts. Now when I'm on the road, once I'm out of Florida and I'm traveling, like if I'm going to be in other countries or I'm going to be in other states, I can easily watch it. But they put a blackout on it, and it's like I'm not even near the stadium here. I'm not even near the stadium, so it's a whole challenge. It's a whole monetary challenge to try to be able to watch the Rays. But I love the team and I love watching it. So they're doing pretty good though. They're not doing so bad. They're 2-1 right now going into tonight, and I feel like it's going to be a good season. In fact, I did contemplate going to the game tonight because this will be the first night game at Steinbrenner. The first 3 games were day games, 4 p.m. time, 1 p.m., noon. This is a 7 p.m. first pitch, so it'll be a night game. I didn't want to sit in the traffic. Yeah, first pitch is in 35 minutes, 7:05. It's 6:31 right now. It's still 82 degrees. 82 degrees right now. Also, really not looking forward to the summers here. I probably won't be around much of the summer. I mean, here and there. Not that I'm around much here anyway, but I really got to get in the habit of using gyms at the hotels I stay at, because the hotels I stay at all have gyms. And then also traveling, you always want to try food in different areas. The whole when in Rome moment is something I need to get rid of, because, you know, I'm like excited about food. I love to eat. I hate that I love to eat. Be a good idea too to actually watch the baseball games while I was on the treadmill. But I want to get through all those Disney ones. It's really hard for me to watch movies, take the time to watch movies. I have to force myself sometimes. So being on the treadmill is a big advantage. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, you should just go out running, you know, out in the open." But the problem with that is, or not the problem with that is, the advantage of being on a treadmill is I can watch stuff I've never seen before that's in front of my face. Everyone wants to know, and by everyone I mean myself, if there's water in this. I made the statement that there is no water in this, and I wouldn't say the agreement with what I said was 100%. The only reason I don't think there is because about a year and a half ago or more, maybe a year ago, they had this dismantled. They were repainting it and fixing it. And it was just down on the ground, and I realized, I don't think there's any way there could be water in that. I think it's just a prop. Because if there is water in here, what would it be used for? Okay, let's look at this. Look at this. If water really went underneath there, would there be concrete around it to use as a stabilizer? I'm just asking. I don't know for sure. But I do not believe there is a hole in that concrete, because you would have to put this down and whittle that out to get the water to go up underneath there. And look at this. Look at this. So if you look closely, you can see some light coming through these slats of the wood. Wouldn't the water be pouring out of there? Again, I don't know for certain. I'm just showing my thoughts. The reason I go to the 192 Publix as opposed to the one that was just built recently, just opened, you know, in the last year or so, over by World Drive, by the Art Deco 7-Eleven and Mickey D's, over near the entrance to Island Village. There's two Publixes. This is technically in Celebration, but it is on the 192 side. The reason is because I'm technically not supposed to drive on the road that is marked 40 miles per hour that goes over to the other Publix. That's the only road in town I cannot take mini Marge on. However, I have seen quite a few people driving their golf carts on it. So I'm kind of wondering, maybe it's just one of those things that's overlooked. Maybe it's not enforced. I've driven it on the sidewalk before. But the problem with that is it's a very populated sidewalk. Way more populated at certain times of the day going towards Island Village and that Publix than the ones here on 192 that I go take to Old Town. So according to the stipulations and according to the guidelines of Florida, if a sidewalk is more than 5 feet, you can take a golf cart on it. And I measured this, and this is like 8.5, 10 feet. This is like over 8 feet wide. So that's why you could take a golf cart. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I won't, maybe because there's more people walking on that road, or walking on the sidewalk going towards the other Publix. Maybe I, because other people have done it. Doesn't make it right, but I gotta dig a little deeper when it comes into how Celebration feels about driving a golf cart over to the other new Publix. Because if you bought a house in Island Village, which I looked at some houses in Island Village. I don't live in Island Village. I live closer to downtown. If you bought a house in Island Village and decided to buy, which is the newest version, or the newest extension of Celebration, and you bought a golf cart like I did, you technically wouldn't be allowed to drive to downtown in it. So maybe there's an exception. I'm doing a lot of pondering. All right, gonna get some food, go watch some baseball, have a relaxing eve, and get up in the morning and crush some weights in the treadmill. Now usually, like if there's water on the floor in a Publix, I'll put a cone down and a wet floor sign. They've extended it out here onto the sidewalk. They put a cone here just so everyone knows there's a little puddle. I like that. Definitely like the exterior of the other Publix way more than this one. The other one is awesome. This one's like, eh. Or for the course for me, a usual Publix go-to romp. Pre-made salad from the deli, cottage cheese, chickpeas, some hummus. Already got chips at home, and I also got a can of soup because I also got some Arizona green tea. I got some leftover saltines, so I got a can of soup for that too. All right, baseball time. I love going to live games, love it, but I also really enjoy watching on TV. Dwayne Stats, Brian Anderson, great TV commentators. I don't know which one I enjoy more. I like being there live, but I also like watching it on TV. It's two totally different experiences. Also, interesting thing about the Rays, even though they don't have like a big draw to the stadiums, back when they had Tropicana Field, now the stadium they're playing at Steinbrenner, the Yankees that's their farm team stadium that they're renting out to the Rays for $15 million this year. It only holds about 11,000 people or less. So most of those games are going to be pretty full. But evidently they have a huge TV audience. They do really well on TV. From what I've heard, who knows? Yeah, one thing's for sure, when you get a little older and your joints aren't doing as good as they were when you were, a spring chicken. I'm also heavier than I was when I was a spring chicken. You really start to notice it more. In fact, the last few days, I stepped in a hole the other day, like 4 days ago. I was out doing some thrift shopping, and I stepped in a hole that I didn't see in the ground. The next day I get up and my ankle is like throbbing, hurting. And it's been really sensitive since then. It's doing okay now. But I think it wasn't just necessarily me falling in the little hole, very small hole. I mean, it was only like a few inches deep. It twisted my ankle just a little bit. But I think if I was much lighter, those instances would not happen as often. I don't have the strongest ankles and the best knees, but I don't notice any of the pain or the ailments when I'm thin. I never have heartburn when I'm thin, acid reflux when I'm thin. Not that I've had acid reflux or heartburn in a while, but it's been kind of hinting that it's going to be rearing its head again soon. So, kind of at that point where need to make a change and not go the other direction, because the other direction will not end well. And if my math is correct, it's 108 days, so tomorrow will be 107 days until July 17th. So I have a week of a buffer over the 100-day kind of challenge thing. But I have a week to kind of prepare myself and do it. But I got an extra week on top of 100 days till the date. I'm not sure my mental state of goals and being driven to do things is based on mathematical numbers and having dates that I can put as a pinpointed number to get to. I'm not really sure why my brain ticks that way, but it works for me. If I don't have that, then I'm not as motivated. So I always have to have something like that. Not just with, trying to drop a couple pounds, but just in general with any kind of goal. I mean, perfect example was doing all 30 current MLB stadiums, which I finished. It took me 3 years to do. There was no reason for me to do that, but I was so motivated that really drove a lot of my travel over the last few years. And I just knocked off my 31st stadium by seeing the Rays at Steinbrenner during the regular MLB season. I haven't seen a gator in a while in any of the lakes. Haven't been looking super hard, but Lake Reinhardt I haven't. This little retention pond next to the golf course. Seen cool around anywhere, bird? I know, bird. I've stated this before, year after year. I get it. Doesn't mean you can't try again, though, right, bird? You trying to fly? Oh, you just took a little swim. I think that bird is drying his wings off. That's one of those birds that flies, but also can swim really, really well, and sticks his head out of the water. Sometimes you think it's a snake, but it's just the bird sticking its little beak up. So tomorrow, if I have batteries in the scale, I will, in the beginning of tomorrow's video, I'll show how much I weigh. I'll get a piece of paper, and I will put the lines across it, put the dates, put the numbers of how many days it is, the 107 days, and I'll weigh myself occasionally, not every day, because there's going to be times I'm going to be out of town for a couple weeks at a time. Don't be alarmed, bird, it's just a truck. And if you feel like following along on Instagram with my stories, be hitting some weights, hitting the treadmill, watching some Disney films. I think tomorrow's number 14. I think it's Peter Pan, but don't quote me on that. That's gonna do it for today. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog and this bird's swimming for the day. He's drying off. He's done. He's done swimming. He wants to be dry. He's just really working hard to dry it. The vlog is. You gotta go, bird. You gotta go. You gotta go. Over.